Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good day, wherever you are, good morning as well. We include everybody. Everybody's welcome here. This is the Fellowship of Fandoms podcast, or as we like to call it, the FOFcast, where we talk about a lot of nerdy stuff. The most important at the moment being absolutely number one, Wheel of Time. We have been doing this now for already a couple episodes. We already also did a stream or two mentioning Wheel of Time quite a lot recently. Sadly, the show has been cancelled by, I guess, Amazon. Sony and Amazon haven't been very open about what's going on with the show, but that did not stop many a great fan to keep pushing and to try to get this show renewed. So yeah, here we are talking about it and also doing a rewatch because we want to. First of all, it's a great show. We want to talk about it, and we decided to talk about it now because we also want to help just amplify the voice a little bit as much as we can. Yeah, thanks to everybody for tuning in. And of course, as usual, my ADHD brain has prevented me from doing this properly, and they called me Strider. I kind of realized like halfway through, so I was like, okay, I'll just go through it, and then I'll do it at the end. So yeah, they call me Strider around here, and here with me is the Shiv Knight. Shiv, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. And for a correction right off the bat, this is a rewatch for Strider and a watch for me. I've never seen this show, so I'm trying to go through this with minimal spoilers and see what happens along the way. So happy to be here and happy to dive into a new world because Strider and I have been living in Middle Earth for most of our lives, and we're we're dealing with the Wheel of Time now. So look forward to figuring out who the dragon is.
Yeah, exactly. I think so far you have managed to stay pretty free of spoilers, which is absolutely terrific. And I just hope we can pull through season one. Because after this, there's just like cool lore stuff that's being revealed, but I feel like the main mysteries, at least for these three seasons, get revealed fairly soon. So hopefully you can stay spoiler free for a couple more weeks, and then we'll be okay. But
Nice.
yeah, let's do our best and let's dive in. So today we are covering episodes 5 and 6. Episode 5 is called Blood Calls Blood, and episode 6 is The Flame of Tarvalon. So yeah, let's go to episode 5. Basically, let me put a really cool photo right here. So actually, yeah, it's already on the screen. We can see basically the end of the previous episode. There was a huge attack. There was a battle between the followers of the Dragon Reborn, Loghain, and the Aes Sedai and their warders, and there are some of their other allies, or I guess the one ally that they have here, which is Nynaeve. And well, things do not go well. The Aes Sedai do prevail ultimately, however, at a great cost. Some people die. Most importantly, and most impactfully, Karene. I think that is the proper pronunciation. She is the one of the Green Aes Sedai. She is killed in this. She's killed by Loghain, actually, and some other things happen. And basically, a lot of people get dangerously hurt. A lot of people are dying here. However, Nynaeve, pushed by the pain and fear of this moment, she managed to dive really deep and channel like no one has channeled in 1,000 years, and to basically heal all the people in this room. Yeah, and then after this, the sisters, the Aes Sedai sisters, they shield, or they, sorry, they, I forgot the term, they completely cut off from the one power Loghain, and here we can see him pulled afterwards, not in a cage anymore, but just like this, because now he is a harmless, broken man, and this is his fate. However, on the other hand, we have the sisters of Aes Sedai who are just mourning the loss of Karene. And I just want to point out, because this comes back again in the future, spoilers, Alana, the sister we can see here on the left, I believe that she has this kind of like an ash thing going on here, because she has this ritual of kind of like when someone passes away, she puts, I guess, a bit, some, at least in the symbolic way, a bit of ash, and that's what's happening over there. That's why she has this white stripe over her face. So yeah, strong opening. Or like, I don't know if it's a strong, I don't know if it's like necessarily a strong opening, but it's definitely a somber opening. There's a lot of emotions going on. So after burying Karene and Loghain's army is dispersed, Moiraine, Lan, Nynaeve, and the Aes Sedai travel to the White Tower in Tarvalon. And we kind of have this aftermath of the battle going on. And we see that the warder of the fallen sister is struggling a lot with it. Shiv, walk us through the opening of this episode, and like what were your impressions, like what's going on here, and like the and we'll get to this, especially like I guess in this episode as well, and in some other episodes, and like in future episodes as well, about the connection between a warder and an Aes Sedai. But what's your take so far at this point in the story?
Yeah, I'll do a small shout out too to one of the scenes. So when they're burying the I think it's the army. The army's dead. It looked like they buried it in a unique, I don't know if it's like a Wheel of Time reference, circular burial plot, but it kind of reminded me, it's probably a loose connection, but it reminded me of how the White Walkers kind of messed with people beyond the wall in Game of Thrones. It kind of had like a similar vibe with that shot. I guess one's more gruesome than the other, and one's respectful for the dead. But kind of when I first saw that scene, it reminded me, yeah, exactly. Reminded me kind of that different symbol. But yeah, the imagery just brought me back to that scene. And what I like too is, I mean, we've seen glimpses of it throughout the show that like the Aes Sedai aren't like immortal, right? There was the one in the cage at the town, but like this is, I think, one of the first times we see an Aes Sedai up close die. Um, from what I remember,
Yeah, pretty much.
pretty much. So it kind of shows that they're not like these immortal gods that can just wizard their way through life. So it's cool that we're getting stakes so early in the show and the impact it has. We're seeing that with the ward. And I think that this episode kind of dives into the lore of wardens a bit more. And yeah, we kind of see the grief of Steppen and how he deals with losing his Aes Sedai, which I don't know, is it too, should we wait to get to that part? Or should we talk?
I guess, yeah, I think we can just dive in right into that. So yeah, they reach Tarvalon fairly early in this episode, and as they reach there, as they reach the city, I guess we'll get to it in a second. So yeah, they get very close, and we get to see the White Tower of Tarvalon.
Oh,
And
have a comment here. Another Lord of the
okay,
Rings reference.
yeah, I'm getting there. I'm gonna
Okay.
hand it over to you in a second. So yeah, we get here, and it's this famous city. It's the center of the world. At one point in one of these episodes, it says, you know what they say, all roads lead to Tarvalon, and indeed, they arrive here, the Aes Sedai and Nynaeve, and yeah, Shiv, what were you gonna tell us here? What does this remind you of? I wonder.
Things actually. So I'll start with Rings of Power. Kind of reminds me of the Rings of Power design of Eregion.
Again, yeah.
You kind of got the river. Yeah, you were already see. It looks so much like Eregion. I thought that was Eregion.
I'll get it in a second. I just had
Yeah.
a different photo, but yeah, I'll get to Reggie now.
But yeah, that was the first thing it reminded me of, because similarly, there's white walls bordering a river. The river borders the city. There's a big tower inside the city, and yeah, and the shows came out around the same time. And I think this is actually, so this image is from season 1 of Rings of Power, and season 2, I don't know if it was a different angle or something, but you actually see a white wall that's bordering um, the city, like when the elves are warring with the orcs, etc. But yeah, the design is
There's a bit more.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was the first reference. And then the other one that might seem more obvious is there's a giant volcano next to a white city. And think of how Minas Tirith is very close to Mordor. You got Barad-dûr, you got Mount Doom. So I found it interesting. I don't know, because I don't know the lore of Wheel of Time. Maybe you can drip a little bit of knowledge towards me, but is that volcano related to any sort of evil in this show, or is it strictly aesthetics? Does the volcano play a part? What is, if anything, can you say about this?
What, if anything, is a great way to ask it, because I don't think I can say I don't think I can say much, because I don't know. I'm actually curious as well. Rand at some point mentions when he met arrive here that volcano, there's just something about it. I'm like, what is
Foreshadowing.
it? Yeah, but I was like, is this something that comes up during the season? Because both of us, we are show watchers. Uh, I have a couple of friends that I talked with about the books who have read the books, but I'm not sure. I actually do not know the answer to your question. What's the significance of the volcano? Except that, yeah, maybe Rand had something. Because, like the thing with Wheel of Time is people in a way come back, like you get kind of reincarnated in a way. So maybe one of his past lives or something, but that's this part of the metaphysics of Wheel of Time really not I don't know much. So I don't know. I can't say much, but it is exactly the same thing which that a lot of fans have thought. Oh, a white city with a really cool tower. There's a volcano over there. I wonder.
I wonder if we have any volcano experts that follow us, because I'm wondering, is that volcano close enough to cause any kind of destruction to that city, or is it far enough away where it won't pose any risk?
Feel like it's
So
close enough, but yeah, let's
close
let's hear
enough.
from some experts in the comments. But yeah,
But yeah,
anyways, so,
very.
so they arrived to Tarvalon, and yeah, you can tell us what were you gonna say?
I was going to transition to the scene of them kind of parading the false dragon through the city. So I don't know if we want to talk about that yet or not. But similarly, for
We
that
can.
scene, um, reminiscent to maybe that's more of a trope of. Yeah, I guess that could be a medieval tradition. I guess when you capture someone, you parade them around the city.
If I can, real quick, I think so. So that's basically goes all the way back to actually Rome, and like probably even
Rome.
they would do these things like they would parade. I think even some kings got paraded like this. Like the fallen enemies. This is not the photo from this exact scene, but it's kind of like this
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, I think it is you're right, like, but it actually is rooted in history since like thousands of years ago. So yeah,
Yep.
do go on.
Yeah, so we get that classic piece, and I don't know if I misinterpreted the scene, but the dragon spots Rand and Matt overwatching them. You had that photo up a second ago, and the dragon or the false dragon starts like laughing manically. I almost thought that was a vision that Matt was seeing, but I was reading the description prior to this, the start of this podcast, and it made it sound like no, he was actually laughing, so it wasn't like a vision. Apparently in the write up. So I didn't. I was thinking it was like he's kind of possessed by that dagger thing, and I was like, oh, maybe it's making him see things that aren't there. But yeah, that might have been a misinterpretation on my part.
I think they do play a little bit with your perception as a viewer, as a watcher, I guess, viewer. But I think it was happening. Like he does see the two of them, and he does have this reaction. And I don't know if we're gonna remember this. If we could remember this specific scene in the next episode when we're covering episodes 7 and 8, I'll explain then.
Okay, I'll try to make a note.
Because
Laugh.
there's a huge point of this whole thing, but I'll say it. I don't want to say it now.
Gotcha. All right, some foreshadowing for me.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So they
Uh,
parade him, and
yeah.
they say that there's this sister has died, and yeah, and then they arrive to the tower. And what were your thoughts about the tower, and like what things that were happening there, and like what's happening with Stepin, and like however you wanna lead us through your thoughts on all of this.
Yeah. We can make another Lord of the Rings reference. I don't know what it's called in this show, but there was the circular like fire thing where they threw the rings into it, and I was like, oh my god, that's another reference or nod or whatever, or maybe just a coincidence. But seeing that, like, I thought it was a cool design. Palace is impressive. We kind of get, I don't know what you would call it, but the room where they meet. It's the conference room. No, like the design there is pretty cool. And when you first see it, yeah, you have on the screen right now. Is that where Gollum falls and clasps the ring for the last time? No, or is that where Celebrimbor forges the rings?
Yeah,
But yeah, so that was interesting design. And yeah, I don't know once again, I don't know if you can tell me too much about it, but there appears to be rings associated with the Aes Sedai, and after they die, it sounds like they throw them into this thing. Is there power related to these rings? Are they purely symbolic?
that
Do you
is
happen to
an
know?
excellent that is an excellent question, and I am not actually sure. I think there's at least there's symbolism to it, definitely. That's for sure. but I'm not sure if I don't think there's like an actual like power to it or something. I think it's more just like this symbolical representation of their status, which is
Hmm.
why Child Walda, who we'll get to, that awful white cloaks dude,
Hmm.
why he is gathering them. It's like kind of like trophies, I guess. But yeah, I don't think there's power to it. But they do, I guess they melt them. I mean, obviously it has this there's definitely this similarity to a certain scene in the Lord of the Rings movies, for obvious reasons.
It,
But I guess it's just like a cool little coincidence in a way. But they do this, I guess, as a sign of respect to their fallen. This is like a way to say goodbye to an Aes Sedai.
this could be a stretch, but this could be kind of related to, I don't know, maybe this is more of like a white console. I was gonna say the meeting at Rivendell, but yeah, I'm pulling a stretch there. I'll walk it back.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say, please go on. So I guess we can go into like Aes Sedai and the Warders and this whole thing that's happening there.
oh yeah, yeah. So at this point, should we get? Yeah, okay, yep. This was a shock too. So after Kareen's death, the peers have committed suicide, and Lan kind of wakes up, I guess, and maybe feels something's wrong and goes to his side and yeah, discovers that tragedy. I feel like because I'm new to the show, that particular scene felt rushed to me a bit, but yeah, that's me critiquing without having a solution on how to do it better. But it did feel like a surprise, but I feel like it could have been more powerful if it was tweaked a bit. But yeah, we lost Steppen pretty early in the process. And wasn't there? Oh, sorry. Yeah, now I'm jumping back. Wasn't there going to be like a ceremony of him finding a new Aes Sedai? That sound right?
So yeah, that was kind of they have these conversations throughout. I didn't realize I actually turned off the photo. They were having this conversation throughout, because a lot of them come through to try to like console him, but we
Yep.
actually then get to learn more about the bond between the Aes Sedai warders. We learned that this connection is stronger actually than anything because it's almost like a magical connection between them.
Yeah.
Actually, because it is a magical connection, they feel what the other person feel. And if you, I know it's a lot, so on the first go, it's not easy to notice this and then to remember it, but they feel the emotions basically of each other. Like if the other one is disturbed or sad or hurt or something, they feel it as well. And to be connected with someone like this and then to have this person die, it must be terribly traumatic. So that's why a lot of the warders, including Lan, were very worried about him. And they were
Hmm.
talking about maybe getting him to join some other Aes Sedai, or actually getting Alana a third one. So the triple would become a
Nice.
quadruple, I guess. So there was a lot of this. And then yeah, him and Lan, they kind of get drunk, I guess, a little bit. But Steppen seems to have already decided that he was going to take his life. Yeah, Lan finds him having with Steppen having slit his own veins, sadly. And I was very sad. I was very surprised because this guy, like of all these warders, with the exception of Lan, I guess, I felt like this actor was kind of
Hmm.
wasted because I said it in the previous episode. Like he plays, I'm not sure what his name is, but he's a cool dude and he plays King Harald. I'll see if I can find the photo. He plays King Harald in Vikings, and he
Hmm.
is freaking cool there. Like he's not the best guy, but he's just like really, look at him here. He's one of
Oh
he
wow.
was one of these main recurring characters throughout a couple of seasons. He's an absolute badass.
He's
He's
like
actually historical character.
unrecognizable.
I didn't recognize him actually from the first go. It took me like I don't know 10-15 minutes of having him on screen to actually realize, oh my god, that's that guy. I was like, why is he so familiar? And he's actually a historical figure like King Harald, and he's super cool. Actually, I don't know if this is I'm fairly sure this is correct. You know that story. That's like that. This is a tangent we kind of keep doing. We'll keep doing. I'm sorry for my terrible voice, for my terrible singing voice. The mother told me someday I would buy galley with good doors, sail to the. It's like a Viking sea shanty. And it's like,
Hmm.
it is actually, according to the history, it's actually accredited to him. He's like the guy who's known to have sung this song. And this song is now like one of the bigger sea shanties that you can hear. Oh, but
Wow.
like Viking sea shanty, I guess. So to this historical anyway, who was portrayed by this really cool actor, and then he dies in like 2 episodes, and I'm so pissed
Oh,
because he was just absolutely terrific, and then we kind of just lose him here, and I appreciate it. I just wish.
name is Peter Franzen.
There we go.
Oh, yeah,
He's a
and
cool dude. Like he absolutely nails it in the Vikings. Like he's really cool, really impressive. Has a great story to him. This is
wow.
sharing of the photos, but yeah, that's it. So anyway, we go to the fact that yeah, he's getting buried, and this scene is very interesting because here we actually see Moiraine reacting to Lan's feelings. So I have this very poor quality photo here. So as Lan is the main, or like the chief mourner, they have this ritual there, and he starts like smashing his chest with his fist, and they all eventually join, and Milan is just screaming in anguish and so on. And we see this connection between Lan and Moiraine. So yeah, it just keeps building on this importance of the connection between Lan and between Warders and the Aes Sedai, and it's very cool, very interesting, and very important for later on. And actually, I have to say, I read a pretty cool story where Lan meets Moiraine, and that was really cool. That's the only thing I read from the Wheel of Time, this one specific excerpt when the two of them meet, and it's really cool. But yeah, I guess we kind of can wrap up here for episode 5. There's one more thing, so you can tell me what if you have final thoughts on this. And Moiraine also warns Nynaeve that basically there's like a lot of internal politics going on with the Aes Sedai, but that's more left for the next episode. But yeah, let's hear your comments on this, and we can then move on to the next storyline for episode 5. So to Perrin and Egwene.
Yeah, another slight tangent. I'm gonna make another long shot reference, but the ceremony of kind of dealing with the loss of Steppen, or sorry, or yeah. Kind of reminded me of the Maori rituals in New Zealand that they conduct. Like I think that's more like based in like it's like a war dance. It's like a hockey. God, I'm probably mispronouncing that, but haka. That's it. Remind me of that quite a bit too, and yeah, I thought that scene was pretty powerful. And so that was a tangent. So sorry. You wanted me to comment on the Perrin and Egwene, their kind of storyline. Oh yeah, and okay, this episode, this was with the wolves and the white cloaks, right? So oh man, this episode. Okay, so if I remember correctly, they get captured. This dude here, he has them in he has Egwene in a tent, kind of
He puts them in a tent, and so what he wants to do is he wants to provoke Egwene to. So I was muted there. I was going
use
to
her
segue to
powers.
this, but I
Oh
was
yeah,
muted and I didn't say it. So yeah. Anyway, he puts her here, and she's like tied, and he puts Perrin into like this other torturous thing, and he either you channel to save him, I kill you, he walks, or you do not channel, I kill him and you walk. It's just terrible. And I mean, he is just awful. Like this guy, my God. Like the way this actor portrays him, it is, and kudos to the actor. He's terrible. I want to hurt this man.
it's like a Joffrey character for sure.
It's like he is really disgustingly awful.
It's like a Sophie's Choice. I don't know if you see that movie or that reference, but it's giving them one of those like impossible like scenarios of you can kill this person, but this person lives. What are you gonna do? Brutal.
Yeah. But yeah, so they got, in this very bad situation, and the way of the leaf people, the thinkers, they try to defend them with their bodies in like a peaceful way. However, they managed to Adam, the thinker kid, try to help them out, but they got captured and they got in this terrible situation. And actually she starts to channel. She starts to like she starts to actually like to go into the power, to tap into the power, and she starts to channel, and he gets excited because he's like, okay, I'm about to kill you now. Cool. Thank you. However, at that time, we start hearing the howling of the wolves. And what happens is that the wolves, like a whole lot of them, attack the camp of the White Cloaks just like an army of wolves just swarms over the camp. And at the same time, Egwene and Perrin manage to free themselves. Perrin has gotten pretty hurt. His back is quite hurt, but and I think this is actually also when he kind of, well, not yet, but he soon also reveals that he is the one that killed his wife, not a Trolloc. So that's like a whole thing that he's also dealing with. He's like, I deserve this, I deserve to die. And this is actually when he says this, I think, during this scene, because it's
Yep.
been a couple of days since we watched it. So there's like a lot to unpack here, but in a way also it's like a very straightforward thing where they were captured, wolves attack, and then they kind of managed to escape. So how are you feeling about this whole wolf storyline and like this them managing to flee and also like to wound Valda or like to stab him in the.
Yeah, that was one choice I'm not too sure about. Like, oh, is it because the Aes Sedai can't really like murder people, and that's why she didn't kill him?
Well, she's not an Aes Sedai yet.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because I like, I mean, that's a movie trope. You end up not killing the villain, so like they wounded him,
Comes
but
back.
I'm like, yeah, it's like I'd expect if someone was torturing you, you would probably torture them to death, but they kind of just leave him to escape. But I guess, you're not in that situation. So maybe they felt like they were going to get captured again if they didn't flee right away. But yeah, the wolves, I'm assuming at this point that Perrin 100% has some kind of power that he controls wolves or influences the wolves. And I'd be shocked if the show does a twist where he has nothing to do with that. But they're strongly alluding to that. There was a wolf blocking the horses, and then he's like, they're not going to harm us. And then the wolf runs away. So
His
yeah, I
eyes
think he
also
has,
change.
yeah, his eyes changed to the wolf color. Yeah, I think he must have some kind of like the question I was having while watching it is it just wolves or does he have the ability to control any animal in general? But as of right now, the show is just showing wolves, so that's all I have to go off of.
Yeah. I think for me, Perrin is actually one of my favorite characters. I had to say, but though I just really like all of them. I think this is a very interesting thing that's going on here with him. But I guess I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward storyline in this episode for them. A lot of bad stuff, and that's about it. So yeah, they managed to escape, and that's about it. So I guess we can move to Rand and Matt and what's happening with them. So basically, they arrive to Tarvalon. I don't know if it's Tarvalon or Tarvalon. I think it's Tarvalon actually, like the Valon. So yeah, Rand is getting quite concerned about Matt's erratic behavior. Like he's getting more anxious. He looks like he is on drugs and like he's looking for another fix or something. This is kind of like the behavior it reminds me of, and it's very interesting because obviously we have this cursed dagger that's with him and that's messing with him. But then, yeah, so they arrive to Tarvalon and they met Loyal, the Ogier. I think that is the proper pronunciation. So actually, yeah. What did you think of this? So they arrive here, and Matt is not feeling the best. He's not. Rand is worried, but they arrive to Tarvalon and they meet the Ogier Loyal.
Yeah, a couple comments. The photo you had up a second ago, Rand had strong ranger vibes with the green cloak and the bow and arrow.
Yeah,
It definitely reminds me of a typical ranger. And then, yeah, bringing up, I think so far my favorite character, as random as it is the Ogier. Like, he reminds me of kind of like Treebeard from Lord of the Rings, kind of like, Gandalf is like wise. He similar to Treebeard. He talks about how like humans are like fast and like, Treebeard, kind of talks about that of like slow down, don't be
don't be
hasty.
hasty.
So I kind of like it. It seems like the Ogier, they're in like a library type thing. So it seems to like he's got a lot of knowledge too. I'm assuming he'll come into play the future stories, hopefully, and helping the four. But yeah, I really like that character right now, and hopefully he survives long enough to be in multiple seasons. Guess
Yeah,
we'll see.
he is very interesting. I have actually no idea where the hell they come from.
Hmm.
Because again, I don't want to spoil like there's stuff about the world that are hinted at and discovered and so on. So as we go on, so I'll get to it at some point. But it is very interesting the way this race exists. I actually have no idea what's their background, but he is very cool. I like his voice as well. He's very calming and like yeah.
Hmm.
But he kind of plays a role in this episode, the next episode, where he's kind of helping us connect the rest of the group. But like everybody
Oh
in the group
yeah.
kind of get together at some point in that, I guess, next episode mostly. So yeah, and I think we can actually continue to this episode, to the next episode. So basically, Moraine soon visits Matt and Rand, and she helps heal Rand from
Oh
what's happening
yeah.
with the dagger, and it's quite an intense scene actually, like, and it seems like, and I really like this, and I think it has been mentioned before, but I might be misremembering, but I think this is kind of like shown here, and then I think it's also mentioned at some point, like they kind of, when they're healing someone or like when they're helping someone to recover from whatever, they kind of take it upon themselves in a way. It's not just that they're just taking it from this person, it kind of goes through them. And we can see this. I really like the way they did the channeling, because she takes with this one hand, she's taking this from, like with the left hand, she's taking it from Matt, like getting him like to puke out, like almost like to get pull out like this thing out of him. The darkness goes through her, swirls around like her left arm, goes through her, goes over her mouth, which I kind of took as like this darkness trying to get into her, but it's almost like she's keeping her mouth closed. It goes over, goes down the right hand, and then as we see here on the photo, she puts it back in the dagger, which I thought was just like a really cool visual representation of
Hmm.
what's happening there. I thought that was really impressive. What do you think of the
Yeah.
scene?
Yeah, 100% agree there. And I don't remember because I watched this a couple days ago. Do they say what they do with the dagger? Or is it kind of like I saw her drop it to the floor, but do they keep it or do they dispose of it?
I am off the top of my head, I'm not completely sure what happens with it. Because I remember from third season, I'm not sure. Like, there's stuff, it's still around in the story. I'll say it like this, because I
Okay.
think something happens in the next couple episodes, but I'm not sure what exactly. Maybe
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. We'll get to it.
Because I figure it's like an important artifact. So I was like wondering if they just like discard of it and then that's it. But I had a feeling it would come back in some fashion. Seems like it's an important piece. So, okay. Yeah, I thought this was a cool depiction of kind of like taking corruption out of someone, putting it back in the corrupted object and containing it. And I wonder if there's future storylines that involves corruption like this, because we got like, oh, I don't know. This is is this conspiracy or not? Could fades be caused by this corruption?
Yeah,
Corrupt
you're going for like the Nazgul vibe. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I have no idea how fates come into being, but
because I could see
it, I
like
think it's just like a whole other thing, but it's like equally
okay,
bad, if not worse.
okay, yeah. Keep away from the Nazgul vibe.
Yeah. So yeah, she manages to keep Matt safe. He's now feel gonna be better. And after this, I, sorry, we kind of go into the politics of the White Tower, and they bring out Logain in front of the Amrylin seat, who we meet. Actually, this episode opened with like a cold open where we saw this origin story of this character, Suan Sanche, the daughter of the river. I think it's how Moiraine refers to her. She grew up a fisherman's daughter, and that's a very very interesting background story for such a powerful character, right? Because she's basically here, like the equivalent of the Pope. In a way, like it sounds odd to maybe make this comparison, but like, it is like she is the head. Well, at the Pope, what the Pope was in the Middle Ages, to be more precise, not today, right? Trump is the
Oh
oh,
god.
sorry, I won't go there. But it's just an insane thing to mention. Yeah. So anyway, she goes. We face her, and she then faces Logain, who tries to convince them to. He's trying to provoke them into killing him. However, due to the fact that he killed their sister, Suan Sanche, or the Amrylin seed, she says, "You will live forever. You will live out your life, and you will suffer from the absence of the one power." Which this is an insane thing that like this is an insane trauma for people who get cut off from it. It's like basically it's kind of like drugs, I guess, in a way. Like it's almost like it has a similar effect. It's intoxicating, and once you get a taste of it, it's absolutely traumatic to lose the
Power withdrawals.
Yeah, it's traumatic to lose the connection with it. And this is the sentence he's getting. You're gonna live out your days and you're gonna suffer every single moment because you are forever cut off from the power. Because at the end of the previous episode, these three ladies cut him off from the one power. And then we also have this scene where, like the extension of this scene where the Amyrlin seat is, she confronts Liandrin and Moraine about their decision to cut him off from the power, to still, I think that's the word, to still someone means to cut them off from the power. I think that's the proper term. Because usually what happens is they bring him here, whoever this crazy person is, this man, they bring him here and then they make this decision in the White Tower. However, they did this, it was like a battlefield decision. And no, sorry, it's the term is gentling. So to gentle someone is to cut them off fully from the one power. So she criticizes them about this, and she mostly criticizes Liandrin. So that's the lady on the left, one of the strongest of the red Ajak. Moiraine and Alana, the one in green, they actually defend Liandrin. However, Liandrin, being a sneaky person, she turns the tables and goes actually against Moiraine, calls her out. What is it that you're doing? You haven't been here in the tower for 2 years. What are you doing? Tell us, tell us, tell us. And the Amyrlin seat herself actually has to push this as well. So she also confronts Moiraine. However, she says, okay, if you do not, and Moiraine says that she cannot reveal what is her task, which is insane. Like, it's like, who are you not? How can you keep this from the person who's leading your order? Right? So the Amyrlin seat says, okay, you will get your punishment tomorrow. So how were you, what was your whole impression of this whole scene? Because we get a reveal that there's a lot of things going on here. There's this rivalry between some of the Ajak, like the red with the blue in this case, and some other things. Like, so what was your impression of this whole scene?
Yeah, so the internal conflicts, I can see how that could come into play in the future for drama. Like, I don't, like, maybe when we figure out who the dragon is, I don't know if there's going to be like strife between the different houses, or dare I say houses, Harry Potter. But I started to get confused because this could be jumping ahead a bit, but doesn't Moraine have kind of like an affair with the highest, this character here? So I'm like, anything can happen in this world, apparently. Like, the highest being of this order is now having an affair with, random Aes Sedai. Like, what is going on? So, I guess it's not even well, maybe it is an affair, or are Aes Sedais allowed to have relationships with each other? I guess, I don't know. It's 2025. The Aes Sedai can be with whoever they want. But yeah, I assume there's got to be some kind of power issues with doing something like that. It's typically why it's frowned upon in modern society. So yeah, that was shocking to me. And I feel like it could be like a form of corruption. So does this lead to some bad things down the road? Bad decisions being made because of they're intertwined right now. So yeah, it seems like a lot. Like, I feel like, what I hope, unless you're going to tell me otherwise, season 1, because I'm going in this completely blind, spoiler free. I'm not reading articles. I'm just trying to watch it because I know if I read an article, it's going to spoil something in the future. That always happens. So I am like, there's a lot of pieces moving in this season. So I feel like I'm missing some stuff. And I'm wondering, does season 2 start to make more sense, or is there continue to be like a lot of lore drops where you have to like be very vigilant to catch everything? Because I feel like I miss pieces here and there, but I'm sure on the second rewatch you'd be like, oh, how did I miss this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I think that was maybe one of the things that I have maybe struggled with in season 1, where I felt like there's a lot of stuff going on. Perhaps that was also maybe one of the factors why I didn't enjoy it as much as I am now. Yeah, I think things get they get in, like, go to their, I'm not sure what's the term in English. They settle down, and there's the story keeps expanding and growing and so on. But like, I feel like it gets settled down. It's just like you're getting introduced to a lot of things now, and then it kind of starts making sense. But yeah, basically we do learn that between the two of them, there's actually a relationship. That is secret. An knows about it, of course, and he gives, he's like give her my regards because I know you're gonna go see her. So just go. It's kind of like, I guess, Anakin Padme situation in a way. With
Oh,
Obi-Wan
yeah.
being like, oh, I know what's happening. But I feel like it's more direct here because, like, obviously the relationship between the Warder and the Aes Sedai, it's very direct. So he knows that he's in on it. He's the ally. He's like, I'm going to guard the doors. You can go. And now that's the interesting thing that happens. So this scene that we have here,
She
like,
sends her on a
we got,
quest with 9 companions.
well, actually, yeah, basically.
Oh my god.
But there was that moment with the leader of the Blue Aes Sedai. I can't find her photo, but she's like, "Hey, you gotta tell me what's happening. You need." She says, "I'm gonna keep you in this tower now. We need you here." And because Moiraine has a quest of her own, she doesn't want to stay here. So during this meeting with the Amrani seat, I'm looking for this photo. During this conversation, she says, "You need to exile me. You need to pretend you're very angry with me. You need to exile me so I can keep doing my task outside." Because the two of them, they know what the task is. They're looking for the dragon together. That's why tomorrow, because the main blue was gonna keep Moraine here, but Moraine is like, I need to be out in the field. I can't stay here. So they make this plan which is a very big deal. Like, if you remember the words, it's like, Moiraine gets exiled and she gives this like holy oath on this rod of whatever. She will leave and she will not come back until she is called back by the Amberlin seat. By Suan Sanchez, she calls her by name, so by her specifically. So it's like a whole thing where they have to play like this 5D chess, where they have to be like, okay, nobody can know that there's something between us, because that's already forbidden, I guess, in some way. And since we have this important task, that's like an extra layer that has to be kept secret. So you have to pretend you're like super pissed at me, exile me for like who knows how long, and this is the play. And that's what they do tomorrow. So that's like this whole layer of like politics is going on. But things get
And
explained even further down the line why the two of them are working together and so on and so on.
I wonder too, like it's sad to kind of talk about modern society like this, but like leading to the cancellation of the show. I'm wondering if season 1 was so dense, it turned people off. They were unable to complete the season. And that's where we like landed maybe with poor viewership or whatever the reason was for cancellation. Cause I feel like shows that are dense end up being great. It's just, you got to rewatch it and get obsessed, similar to like Lord of the Rings, where I guess at a surface level you can follow it and it's like an action movie or whatever, but there's so much lore behind it and then you get obsessed, you want to dive in more. And I feel like if I were to rewatch this after, we complete the 3 seasons, I'd be like, "Oh, okay, this all makes sense." But I'm wondering if that's what happened, is it's so dense that they're tuning out because they're used to being spoon fed, unfortunately. But I don't know. Or it's other factors, but I feel like this has to be some part of the play of this, because I was kind of reflecting on other
Yeah,
shows we
I can
watch,
see that.
and yeah, like Dune Prophecy. When we went through that, it's pretty straightforward. It was easy to figure out the story, but with this one, there's definitely a lot. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but it's like cramming in multiple seasons of Game of Thrones into one season of Wheel of Time is what it feels like to me right now. But I'm sure we'll get to or episode 8, and I'll be like, "Oh no, okay, maybe it wasn't too much. I'm just overwhelmed because I'm not at the end yet."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's, you can always make an argument that the execution maybe isn't the best, but I think it also is like subjective in some ways. So I think as I said earlier or in the previous episode, I can't remember, but I definitely appreciate the show way more on second viewing because like there's just a lot of like every sentence really matters a lot. And a lot of these relationships, little interactions and so on, they all matter. But I don't know, like I think maybe it's also because the way you and I are watching this, it's not the most practical of like paces. So maybe it's also confusing in this way as well. Because
That is
what
fair.
what would usually happen, you would watch it like last night. Today we will be talking about one episode. However, we are doing this where we are like putting 2 episodes in one episode of the podcast and so on. Because otherwise we would have been doing this for half a year. Literally, like that's 24 episodes, like a bit 2 weeks more than 6 months. So we had to like cut them off and put them like 2 per episode at least. And we'll see. Maybe in future we do some 3 episodes at once as well. We'll see. Uh, I think there's also like to a degree, there's also a bit of this as well, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. And if we look time, if they premiered with one episode a week, I'm not sure if that was what the schedule was or not, but yeah, that would definitely given more time to digest and listen to the
Yeah.
community and stuff. So that probably is a huge factor in this for me because usually I'm current with shows, so I'm getting all the media that comes with it. And this show, I'm literally flying completely blind. I have no background, no supporting materials, so that could be it, honestly. So that's a good point.
Yeah. But we'll keep pushing through this. We'll get there. It will all be fine. I promise you're gonna love it. But yeah, speaking of this terrific segue, we also have this moment that happens where Egwene and Nynaeve they meet Sua Sancho, or they meet the Amrani seat, and Nynaeve is unimpressed, while Egwene is quite like cool. Like she is actually quite a bit impressed. So they have this conversation, like, you two are very powerful. They say that Nynaeve is actually insanely powerful. She's the most powerful channeler they have seen in 1,000 years, which is a huge, huge deal, obviously. So
When was the last time I saw the dragon? Was it 1,000 years?
I'm not sure, actually, but it's been a while, definitely. I think it's been even
Hmm.
longer, but it's one of these things where it's like, okay, when Nynaeve is insanely powerful. Okay, cool. Cool, 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 cool.
Dragon, perhaps?
Yeah. So yeah, this is the huge moment. But so they're told, okay, maybe you should maybe stay here and try to be as Sedai. But and we can kind of like fast forward here because everything at some point during these episodes, Moiraine has also reunited with Perrin and Egwene, obviously. Perrin and Egwene. And after this meeting and everything else, like this all kind of ties up into Moiraine taking all of them, as you said, on a quest. The Fellowship is officially formed, and they are getting ready to head to a place that's called the Eye of the World. And the reason why they're doing this is because they think that the Dark One is there. And I have not mentioned this. I was waiting for it this whole time. They have also some of them have been seeing this dark figure in their dreams, like this spooky, shadowy creature haunting their dreams. The belief is like, okay, this is the Dark One. He's haunting us and hunting us through his creatures. But the plan is, okay, we will all go together and we will go by using a way gate, which is like this really cool magical passage gate. Like it's like going into like a black hole, basically. Like it's kind of like a wormhole. Enter here and come out over here. And the plan is for all of them to go together and go to the Eye of the World, this mystical place where they believe that the Dark One is there, and to face him. However, what they do not know, because Leandrin was speaking with Lan about this, that they all might, like those who are not the dragon, might actually die there. But it's like this just shows like the importance of her task, where she says what it's like, basically she is willing to sacrifice all of them for the one person between them who is the dragon, in order to defeat the Dark One, because if he escapes his prison, terrible stuff ensues. So this is why they're going here. So what was your and you know what, actually I'll just finish this off with, they all go into so all of them plus Loyal, who's also with them, they all go into the portal, except the fact that
Matt.
Matt stays behind. So this is the finish of episode 6. Your impressions, and then I have an important thing to say about what's happening here.
Yeah, Matt staying behind was surprising. And my suspicion, if I was to throw every theory out there, is this a potential red herring where, oh, you're like, oh, he's weak. He's not the dragon or whatever. But in actuality, he is the dragon. He's going to save them and come later. Like, that's a theory I was thinking about. Don't know if it's true, but these portals seem pretty cool. Do you know if they're to the same world, or are they potentially going to other places, like different planets or something? Like, is it like fast travel on whatever world they're on currently?
So I'll give you a little hint.
Oh, snap.
That's a bit spoilery, but maybe this. So it's kind of like this. I mean, I'm not actually completely sure what it is, This is how it looks like in on the inside. I think it's just literally like a shortcut through space. Like, you know, you go here and like I think actually they even say as they're entering that like one step in it inside here it's like 1 mile in the real world, something like this.
Wow.
So it's kind of like it's a big deal. It's a very big fast track. So yeah, but I won't say because I was going to tell you something, but now you theorized about something, so I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. I cannot tell you this now, but we'll get
Dang.
to it in the next 2 episodes. So yeah, this is it. We have finished 3/4, 3/4 of this show season so far. So we are tuning in next time for episodes 7 and 8. We are going to the finish of the show. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions for this. But yeah, maybe like a comment to wrap up. What do you think until now of the show? Like just like a quick little thing, because I mean we obviously discussed it a lot yet. So by now,
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned multiple times the word dense. So I would say season one's pretty jam packed, and of course, if you're setting up a story that's going to be multiple seasons, it does take a lot of legwork at the front end of it. So
yeah,
dense doesn't even mean it's a bad thing. It's just it takes some time to kind of digest everything. So I think this is like the only spoiler I know about is it seems like the end of season one was a letdown and then the series gets better. So I kind of have, I guess, a bit of a warning that other people that were watching this when it aired had. So far, though, long story short, it's a show that I enjoy watching. I'm not like regretting or cringing the next time I have to watch the episodes. Like I can't wait to watch the next episodes. I think it's great so far. There's a lot of world building that I like. The CGI for the most part is great. There's some clunky spots, but it's overall it's high production. Yeah, so long. Yeah, I said long story short already, but it's a show that currently I'm invested in, and nothing has swayed me to be uninvested in it.
oh yeah.
How it got canceled, I don't know.
Man, just wait until you see. Like, I promise you, like every season, it's just like a level up, like
Hmm.
a very solid, clear. It's like you're walking up the stairs, and when like when you jump, when you like skip a stair, like go from one, skip the one, and then go to the next one, and then
Yep,
every season is kind of doing this, and like
exponentially.
even the first step was very good, actually, like a pretty solid step, and then you doop doop, and it's like it's really good. It gets even better, and I mean, there's a lot of things I want to say, but I want to keep it for when we get there. But it's a good show, man. Like I cannot believe it got canceled. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. But it is
I
what it
blame
is. Hopefully it will get uncanceled. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this. We want to try to amplify the voice a little bit as much as Fellowship of fans can. And yeah, what were you gonna say?
I think I mentioned it in the first podcast, but I blame it on the marketing 100% right now. For the
That's a
marketing
huge part.
was conducted. Just this show, like I knew it existed, but the limited stuff that somehow got into my feed didn't seem like a show I would like. So hopefully, if Wheel of Time gets saved, they tweak the marketing approach. So it can kind of get to the target audience because I don't the way they were advertising it, it didn't depict what I'm watching. Seemed like a totally different show. Yeah, we'll see what Save Wheel of Time does. I would love to see this thing come back. Maybe it follows the Expanse route where it gets canceled and then a couple years go by, I think, and then it came back, or the Futurama route where it gets canceled multiple times, eventually comes back. There's still hope.
Even if it's only a
So
full scope, it's still a hope nonetheless. For those who are not sure what I'm doing here, I'm quoting Gandalf. It's not a bad thing. If it's a full scope, I'm a fool because I have a lot of hope, or at least some hope. Yeah. Well, let's see. You know, like it's
and
I
what's
cannot
the
wait. Cannot what
to add to quotes? Wasn't there a new quote from Andor about hope? It's something like the Jedi.
rebellion
Yeah,
is built on
build.
hope.
There we go.
Rebellion.
We got to rebel against the corporate Amazon people and get this show back on the air.
Like seriously, I cannot wait for you to get to season 3. My God, dude! Like one of the best episodes of fantasy, one of the best hours of fantasy on like whether it's theater screen, like the cinema, or on the like the TV screen. one of the best hours of fantasy ever is in season 3.
Wow.
I stand by this.
Wow.
And
All I,
it got canceled. It's insane.
So it sounds like I got something to look forward to, and I will say I think it's a glitch in the Amazon app or something. But so I'm well, not rewatch. I'm watching season 1 for the first time, but every time I click on Wheel of Time, it shows season 3, episode 1, and I always have to go back to season 1. So I see a screenshot of Perrin looking kind of like a king or a knight or something, and I'm just like, what is this about? But I don't know. I'm not looking into spoilers, but yeah, I keep getting that screenshot. So it seems like there's some
Yeah.
epic stuff in the future for sure.
There's some really cool stuff for sure. Okay, I think with this we've rambled enough. The previous episode there was three of us, and we took basically the same amount of time to cover the same number of episodes, and we said we're going to be fast, and we did not. We were not fast. Yeah, cheers to everybody who stayed until the end, if anybody stayed. But yeah, anyway, Ship, thank you so much, man. I love doing this with you. You're my kind of rambler. We just keep going, so I really appreciate you.
Here to ramble, and happy to be here.
Yeah, we need to stop encouraging each other to ramble on. We need someone to keep us like in check. But yeah, I guess with this we can wrap up. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. Go please sign the Wheel of Time, save the Wheel of Time petition. There's a lot of cool little things you can do. You can record a small video of yourself for 30 seconds saying why you like Wheel of Time. There's tags, there's so many things, small things that each of us can do. And here at Fellowship Fans, we've been really trying to do a lot of this. So yeah, we'll get back to you very soon, and we will be covering episodes 7 and 8 next time. So please stay tuned, keep following, keep yelling about Wheel of Time, and until the next time, take care.
Bye.